The palace was alive with tension. Rumors of betrayal and danger filled the halls. Jake stood beside Princess Cyrilia, ready to face whatever came next. The final battle for the Empire's future was about to begin. The Shadow Vale had gathered their forces, preparing to strike during a grand celebration meant to show peace and unity. Jake and Cyrilia knew this was their last chance to stop the secret enemies. As the celebration started, the palace glittered with lights and music. Guests from many planets arrived, dressed in bright colors and fine clothes. But beneath the joy, Jake's eyes searched the crowd, looking for signs of danger. Suddenly, alarms sounded. Guards rushed through the crowd, shouting warnings. The Shadow Vale's fighters appeared, dressed in dark armor and carrying powerful weapons. Jake grabbed Cyrilia's hand. "Stay close. We fight together." The battle was fierce. Energy blasts lit the air, and shouts echoed through the grand halls. Jake moved with surprising skill, using what he had learned from his Earth instincts and his new Zetherian training. Cyrilia was strong and brave, fighting alongside her people and Jake. Their partnership inspired the palace guards, who rallied to protect their home. In the heart of the fight, Jake faced the leader of the Shadow Vale, a tall, dark figure with cold eyes. The leader sneered, "You are just a human. You do not belong here." Jake stood firm. "I belong wherever I choose to fight for peace and justice." With a sudden move, Jake disarmed the leader and held him at bay until guards arrived. The battle ended quickly after that. The Shadow Vale's fighters were captured or pulled into the shadows. The palace was safe once more. In the quiet that followed, Cyrilia turned to Jake. "You were brave beyond words. You saved the Empire." Jake smiled, feeling a warmth he had never known before. "I couldn't have done it without you." The people of Zetheria began to see Jake not as an outsider, but as their prince, a symbol of hope and change. The accidental marriage that once seemed like a mistake had become the strongest alliance in the galaxy. Cyrilia and Jake stood together on the palace balcony, looking out over the Empire. "We face many challenges ahead," Cyrilia said softly. "But with you by my side, I believe we can build a better future." Jake nodded, his heart full. Together, they would protect their people, face the unknown, and prove that even the most unexpected beginnings could lead to greatness. The stars shone bright above, lighting the way for their new journey, one of love, courage, and a future they would create together. Commander Elias Trent stood at the airlock of the Starship Endeavor, his heart pounding with excitement and nervousness. For years, humans had watched the stars, hoping to find other life. Now, that hope was real. The Thalzar Dominion, a powerful alien empire, had sent an invitation. Elias was chosen to be Earth's first diplomat to their royal court. The Endeavor landed softly on the planet Zolvera, the capital of the Thalzar. The sky was a strange purple, and huge towers made of glass and metal stretched high into the air. As Elias stepped down the ramp, his boots touched the smooth surface of the alien world. His eyes scanned the crowd of Thalzar officials waiting to greet him. The Thalzar were tall and slender, with shining skin that changed colors. Their eyes were large and black, full of curiosity. Elias felt a chill but forced himself to smile. This was history. Then she appeared. Queen Surzala, the ruler of the Thalzar Dominion, walked forward with grace. She was taller than all her guards, with shimmering blue skin and long silver hair that floated as if underwater. The room grew silent as she approached Elias. Their eyes met. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, something strange. The queen's cheeks changed color, from blue to a deep violet, the Thalzar version of blushing. She quickly looked away, her voice barely a whisper. "You are welcome, human." Elias blinked in surprise. He had expected many things: protocol, formal speeches, maybe even hostility. But not this. The queen's soft voice and sudden blush made his heart skip a beat. Behind her, the court murmured in confusion. The queen's advisors whispered among themselves, trying to understand what had happened. Some guessed that Elias had released a strange human scent. Others thought it might be a secret signal or some unknown power. Elias tried to stay calm, but inside he was both nervous and curious. What had made the queen blush? He smiled politely and bowed his head. "I am honored to be here, Your Majesty." The queen nodded but did not speak more. Instead, she turned and led Elias through the grand halls of her palace. Everywhere Elias looked, he saw technology unlike anything on Earth: floating platforms, glowing lights, and walls that changed color with every step. As they walked, Elias noticed a small group of scientists watching him closely. One of them, a young Thalzar with bright green skin, whispered to the queen and pointed at Elias's simple human tools: a small multi-tool, a metal yo-yo he carried for luck. The queen's eyes softened and she smiled again. Elias did not know it then, but that smile would change everything. His mission was just beginning, but already he had made an impression unlike any other human before him. The next morning, Elias woke up in a bright, strange room. The walls shimmered softly like the surface of a calm lake. A gentle voice from a small floating device explained his schedule for the day: meetings, tests, and a formal welcome ceremony at the palace. Elias dressed carefully in the suit given to him by the Thalzar, a smooth fabric that seemed to change colors with his movements. It felt light and comfortable, but still very different from anything he wore on Earth. When he entered the throne room again, the atmosphere was tense but curious. The queen sat on her high throne, watching him with wide eyes. The court was quiet, waiting for something to happen. "Ambassador Trent," the queen said, her voice soft but clear, "your presence here is unusual." Elias bowed politely. "I am here to represent humanity and learn from your people, Your Majesty." The queen smiled, but then her cheeks shifted again, a deep violet spreading across her skin. The court gasped softly. No visitor had ever made the queen blush like this before. "What is it about you?" whispered one of the court advisors to another. Elias noticed the eyes on him, the whispers, the strange looks. It was clear his presence caused more than just interest. It caused confusion. Later, the queen invited Elias to a private room filled with strange glowing objects. She picked up one of the human tools he carried, a metal yo-yo, and held it carefully. "This toy," she said slowly, "is more than entertainment. It shows balance, control, and a playful spirit." Elias smiled. "It's just a simple toy from Earth, but many humans use it to practice focus and skill." The queen's eyes sparkled with something new: admiration. "You bring something fresh, human. Your people's ideas are strange to us, but full of life. I find that refreshing." Elias felt surprised. Most aliens he knew expected humans to be primitive or dangerous. The queen's words were kind and open. "I want to understand your world," Elias said, "and maybe teach you some things from ours." The queen nodded slowly. "That will be difficult. Our laws are strict, our customs hard to follow, but your presence already changes the court. For that, you are welcome." Elias looked around and saw the queen's closest advisors watching closely. Some seemed worried, others curious. The queen's simple words held weight. He was not just a guest. He was part of something bigger. Later that day, Elias was given a guide, a young Thalzar named Sela, to help him learn the court's customs and language better. Sela was sharp and witty. She explained that in the Thalzar culture, showing emotions was rare and often seen as weakness. The queen's blushing was a mystery no one could explain. "Maybe humans have a secret power," Sela joked. "You make her feel things she never felt before." Elias laughed. The thought was strange but somehow comforting. That night, as Elias looked out the palace window at the glowing city, he thought about the queen's words. "You are welcome, human." What did it mean? Why was he so special here? One thing was sure, his mission was not just about politics or diplomacy. It was about something deeper, something no one had yet understood. The next day, Elias began his lessons on Thalzar royal etiquette. His guide, Sela, was patient but strict. "The Thalzar court is unlike anything you know," she said, leading him through glittering halls. "Every movement, every word, every glance has meaning." Elias tried hard to remember. Bow too low, and it meant submission. Bow too little, and it showed disrespect. Speak too loudly, and it was rude. Speak too softly, and no one would hear. Even eye contact was a challenge. In Thalzar culture, looking directly into someone's eyes was a very serious sign. It showed trust or strong feelings. Elias was told to avoid it unless invited. But Elias was not good at hiding his feelings. He laughed at strange jokes, looked around in wonder, and sometimes accidentally stared at people longer than allowed. Each time, Sela gave a small, worried frown. "You humans are unpredictable," she said with a smile. "The queen especially finds you confusing." Later, Elias met the queen again. The throne room was filled with bright lights and swirling colors. Elias tried to control his excitement, but felt his heart race when she looked at him. "Ambassador," the queen said softly, "your presence challenges our customs. You break our rules without even trying." Elias smiled sheepishly. "I'm sorry if I caused trouble. I only want to understand." The queen's violet cheeks deepened again. "Your honesty is rare." Just then, a high-ranking Thalzar named Lord Vark approached. He was tall and cold, with eyes like sharp knives. "This human is dangerous," Lord Vark said loudly. "He disrespects our traditions. If he cannot follow our laws, he should leave." Elias met Vark's gaze, steady and calm. "I mean no disrespect. I am here to learn and help." The queen raised a hand to silence the room. "Enough. Ambassador Trent will face the royal trials. If he passes, he earns his place. If not—" She did not finish the sentence, but everyone knew the consequences could be severe. The trials were ancient tests of mind, strength, and spirit. No human had ever taken them. Many thought Elias would fail. Elias felt nervous but also determined. "I accept your challenge." Sela helped him prepare, explaining each trial carefully. The first test was a puzzle of logic, designed to confuse and trick. Elias used his own thinking style, and though slower, he solved it. The second was a test of strength, lifting a heavy ceremonial staff made of a strange, shining metal. Elias tried his best but struggled. Suddenly, the staff cracked and broke in his hands. The room gasped. "I'm sorry," Elias said, worried he had insulted the court. The queen's violet blush appeared again. She smiled softly. "You break things, human, but you also try. That is different." The last trial was a test of soul, a meditation to connect with the court's ancient spirits. Elias had no idea what to do. He closed his eyes, breathed deeply, and thought of Earth, his family, his hopes for peace. When he opened his eyes, the queen nodded slowly. "You have passed." The court erupted in whispers. Elias was shocked but proud. He had survived the impossible. That night, Elias lay in bed, thinking about the queen's words. The trials were only the beginning. His journey had just begun. The day of the final trial arrived. The royal court gathered in the great hall, a vast room filled with shimmering lights and strange symbols glowing on the floor. Elias stood at the center, feeling the eyes of hundreds of Thalzar fixed on him. His heart pounded, but he stood tall. He was ready. The first two trials had tested his mind and strength. Now came the last one, the test of the soul. The queen explained it simply. "You must show your true self. Only then can you join us." Elias took a deep breath and closed his eyes. The room grew quiet. A soft hum filled the air, like distant music. He remembered his family on Earth, his dreams for peace between worlds, and the hard work it took for humans to survive. Suddenly, the symbols on the floor lit up, glowing bright blue. The court watched closely. Then the queen whispered, "He is honest. He is brave." Elias opened his eyes. The queen smiled, but then something unexpected happened. Her expression changed to surprise. The ceremonial staff from the strength test, broken in two pieces, began to glow softly. A faint light moved along the crack, slowly repairing itself. The crowd gasped. No one had seen anything like this before. The queen looked at Elias, eyes wide. "You carry a power unusual." Elias shook his head. "I don't know how. It must be a trick." The queen laughed softly, a sound like gentle music. "No trick. It is your spirit. You see the world differently. You bring change." Suddenly, alarms rang through the palace. Guards rushed in. A messenger arrived, breathless. "Your Majesty, enemy ships are approaching the capital." The Thalzar Empire had many enemies, but they never expected a sudden attack. The queen stood quickly. "Elias, you will help us." Elias nodded without hesitation. "Tell me what to do." The queen led him to the command center. Huge screens showed dozens of dark ships closing in fast. The Thalzar defenses were strong, but they needed a new strategy. Elias studied the battle plan. The enemy ships moved in tight formations, powerful but predictable. Using his knowledge of Earth's old tactics, Elias suggested an unexpected move. Break the enemy formation with small, fast ships and confuse their targeting systems. The queen watched him closely. "You are brave to suggest this." Together, they directed the Thalzar fleet. Small fighters darted between enemy ships, causing chaos. The larger Thalzar warships attacked from the sides. The enemy was unprepared. The battle lasted hours, but slowly the enemy retreated. The palace erupted in cheers. Elias smiled, proud of the victory. Later, the queen approached him. Her cheeks glowed again in that violet blush. "You saved us all. You are not just welcome here. You are a hero." Elias felt a warm feeling inside. He was just a human, but here, in this alien world, he had made a difference. The mission had become more than diplomacy. It was about trust, courage, and the power of being human. After the battle, news spread quickly across the Thalzar Empire and beyond. The story of the human, Elias Trent, who had made the queen blush and saved the capital, became the talk of many planets. Elias found himself surrounded by curious eyes wherever he went. Strange creatures, from many species, came to see the human ambassador who had changed the course of history. Some looked at him with respect, others with suspicion, but all wanted to know more about Earth's people. In the palace, the queen's advisors whispered in low voices, "Why does she favor this human so much?" One asked, "Is it wise to trust a stranger who breaks our ancient laws?" Another warned, but the queen only smiled whenever Elias was near. "You are welcome, human," she whispered to him privately, and it made Elias feel important and a little confused. One day, a group of diplomats from the nearby Zevron system arrived. They were tall and covered in bright scales. Their leader, Ambassador Krill, studied Elias carefully. "I hear you made the queen blush," Krill said with a sly smile. "Tell me, human, what is your secret?" Elias laughed nervously. "I have no secret. I'm just myself." Krill narrowed his eyes. "Your people are strange. To some, you are a mystery. To others, a threat." The human nodded. "Maybe. But I believe in friendship and trust. That's what I want to bring." Word of Elias's bravery and charm spread even further. Some began to call him the human miracle, the one who had brought new hope to a galaxy full of old wars. But not everyone was happy. Some feared the humans were too unpredictable and might bring danger instead of peace. Secret plots began in shadowy corners of the empire. One night, while Elias walked in the palace gardens, he overheard a whisper from two guards. "He must be watched closely," one said. "If he becomes too powerful, the queen might lose control." Elias frowned. He had never wanted power. He only wanted to help. Back in the Queen's chambers, Sirzala spoke softly. Humans are different. Your strength is not just in your body, but in your spirit. That makes you both feared and admired. Elias looked at her. Do you think I can really help your people? The Queen's violet blush returned as she smiled. You already have. The galaxy is changing because of you. Despite the gossip and tension, Elias stayed true to his mission. He met with leaders from many worlds, shared stories of Earth, and listened to their hopes and fears. Slowly, a new idea grew, a dream of peace, built on understanding and respect. But Elias knew the road ahead was dangerous. Old enemies still waited in the shadows, and not everyone wanted change. As he stood under the alien stars, Elias whispered to himself, I will prove that humanity is more than just strong. We are worthy. And somewhere far away, the Queen's voice echoed in his mind. You are welcome, human. Elias was beginning to feel comfortable in the Thalzar court. His days were full of meetings, learning customs, and sharing Earth's stories. But peace was fragile. One morning, everything changed. The palace was filled with tension. A group of angry ambassadors from the Clyron Empire arrived, their faces dark with anger. Their leader, High Commander Vrax, stepped forward and pointed at Elias. You, human, Vrax said coldly, are not what you seem. Elias raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? Vrax's voice grew louder. We accuse humanity of being the lost race of the architects, the ancient builders who shaped many worlds long ago. Your people have hidden this truth to gain power. The court gasped. Elias was shocked. He had never heard this before. The architects were a legendary species, believed to have created many advanced civilizations. To be accused of being them was both an honor and a threat. Elias faced the court, his heart pounding. I do not know about this. Humans come from Earth, a planet far from your histories. We are not gods or ancient builders. We are simply survivors, like you. But Vrax was not convinced. You have technology beyond your years. You solve problems others cannot. Your mind is different. This is not a coincidence. The Queen looked at Elias carefully. We will hold a trial. You must prove who you are. The trial was held in a grand hall. The court was filled with species from across the galaxy. Elias stood before them, feeling the weight of their eyes. The first test was a riddle, designed to challenge even the wisest minds. It was a puzzle about stars and time, difficult to understand. Elias listened carefully, then thought deeply. Slowly, he solved the riddle, explaining each step clearly. The crowd was impressed. No human had ever shown such skill before. But the trial was not over. Vrax presented strange artifacts, saying they matched ancient architect designs. Elias examined them and noticed patterns similar to human inventions, but he did not claim them as his own. During a break, Scylla whispered to Elias, many believe humans are a lost race. Others fear what that means. Elias sighed. I want only peace, not to be part of legends. In the final part of the trial, Elias was asked to demonstrate a technology no one understood. He stepped forward and used his multi-tool to fix a broken energy device. The court watched as the lights flickered back on. The Queen smiled. You have shown skill and honesty. After long deliberation, the court declared Elias innocent. The accusation was dismissed. Humans were unique, a species of their own. Elias felt relief wash over him, but he knew the trial had made many wary. Outside the hall, the Queen took his hand. You face many challenges, human, but your courage will lead us forward. Elias looked into her eyes, the violet blush still faint on her cheeks. I will do my best. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Humanity had made a strong place in the galaxy. After the trial cleared his name, Elias thought things would get easier. But the truth was far from that. In the shadows of the palace, secrets stirred. Not all the Thalzar trusted him, and not all wanted peace. One evening, Elias stayed late in the palace library, reading old texts about the Thalzar history. The quiet was broken by soft footsteps. He looked up and saw Sela, his guide and friend. "There are things you don't know," she said quietly. "Not everyone in the court wants you here." Elias frowned. "Why?" "I have done nothing but try to help." Sela looked around and lowered her voice. "Some fear that humans will change everything. They worry the queen's favor will make others lose power." Elias nodded slowly. "Power is a dangerous thing." Suddenly, a shadow moved near the doorway. Elias and Sela turned quickly. A tall figure stepped into the light. It was Lord Vark, the cold advisor who had once challenged Elias during the trials. "You should be careful who you trust," Vark said, his voice low and harsh. "Not everyone here is a friend." Elias met his gaze steadily. "I am here to build peace, not enemies." Vark sneered. "Peace is a dream. The galaxy is full of war and lies." Sela stepped forward. "The queen believes in change. She believes in Elias." Vark laughed bitterly. "The queen's heart may be strong, but her court is filled with snakes." After Vark left, Elias and Sela discussed what to do next. They decided to uncover the hidden threats before they could cause harm. The next days were tense. Elias attended meetings with the queen, but he noticed strange looks and whispered conversations whenever he passed. Sela helped him learn how to read these signs. One night, they followed a group of courtiers to a secret meeting deep in the palace tunnels. The group spoke in harsh voices about removing Elias and returning things to the old ways. Elias's heart raced. He had to warn the queen. The next morning, he found her in the garden, calm and beautiful under the alien sky. "Your Majesty," Elias said quickly, "there are enemies in your court. They plan against us." The queen's eyes darkened. "I have known for some time, but your courage gives me hope." Together, they planned to find the traitors and protect the future they dreamed of. Elias realized that winning trust was only the first step. To build peace, he had to face danger and betrayal. But he was ready. Because this was more than a mission. It was a new beginning. For him, the queen, and all the galaxy. The palace grew tense after Elias's warning. The queen called her closest advisors to a secret meeting. The room was dim, filled with shadows and quiet voices. "We cannot allow traitors to destroy what we have built," the queen said firmly. "Elias, you will help us find the hidden enemy." Elias nodded. He felt the weight of responsibility, but also the fire of determination. Sela stayed close, helping Elias understand the complex politics of the court. They knew the traitors would be careful, hiding their plans behind polite faces and false smiles. Their first clue came from a coded message found in the queen's chambers. It was a warning. Someone close to the throne was working with the Clyron Empire to undermine peace. Elias and Sela began to watch the court closely. They followed whispers and watched for secret meetings. One night, they found a hidden door behind a tapestry. It led to a small room filled with strange devices and data pads. Elias recognized some technology as belonging to the Clyron. Suddenly, footsteps approached. They hid quickly as Lord Vark and two others entered. Their voices were low but filled with anger. "The queen's trust in the human weakens our empire," Vark said. "We must act before it is too late." The others nodded. "The Clyron will reward us for our loyalty." Elias's heart pounded. The traitors were closer than he thought. Later, he told the queen. Her eyes shone with both sadness and strength. "We must move carefully. If we expose them too soon, they will disappear." The next days were filled with careful plans. Elias trained with the palace guards, learning to defend himself and the queen. When the traitors made their move, it was during a grand celebration in the palace. Music filled the halls, and guests from many worlds danced and laughed. Elias stayed alert. He noticed Lord Vark slipping away from the crowd, heading toward the Queen's private chambers. Elias followed silently. He caught Vark just as he tried to open the Queen's door with a strange key. "Stop!" Elias shouted. Vark turned, surprise and anger in his eyes. "You cannot stop what is coming." Before Elias could react, Vark lunged at him. The two fought fiercely. Elias used his training and quick thinking. Finally, he knocked the key from Vark's hand and pinned him down. The guards arrived, capturing Vark and the others. The Queen entered, calm but proud. "You have done well, Elias," she said. "You saved us from disaster." The court cheered. The traitors were taken away, and peace was safe, for now. Elias looked at the Queen. Her cheeks glowed faintly with that special violet blush. "You are truly welcome here," she whispered. Elias smiled. He had faced danger and won, but he knew more challenges awaited. The future was uncertain, but together they would face it. The palace slowly returned to calm after the traitors were caught. Elias felt a new respect from the court, but he knew the galaxy outside the walls was still dangerous. The Clyran Empire was angry, and their threats were not over. The Queen called Elias to a private meeting in her chamber. The room was warm and filled with soft light. She looked at Elias with her deep violet eyes and said, "We need allies if we want to protect our future." Elias nodded. "Who can we trust?" The Queen smiled faintly. "There is one place where many different species meet, the Galactic Council. If we can bring our cause to them, we may find friends." Elias felt hope. The Galactic Council was known to be slow and political, but also powerful. Together, they planned a journey to the Council's capital, a massive space station orbiting a neutral planet. Elias would represent the Thalzar Empire and Earth. The journey was long. Elias spent time studying the customs and languages of many species. He prepared speeches and answers for difficult questions. When they arrived, the council hall was filled with representatives from dozens of worlds. The air buzzed with different languages and strange creatures. Elias stepped forward, feeling nervous but strong. He spoke clearly about the recent attacks, the threat of war, and the need for unity. "Humans have faced many dangers on Earth," Elias said. "We know what it means to fight and to hope. We want peace, but we will stand to protect it." Some representatives nodded. Others whispered. Then, a tall figure from the Zevran system stood. "You speak well, human," the Zevran diplomat said. "The galaxy needs peace, but words are not enough." Elias understood. Actions were more important than speeches. Over the next days, Elias and the Queen worked hard. They showed how the Thalzar Empire could help defend the galaxy. They shared information about the Clyran and their plans. Slowly, more worlds agreed to join a new alliance. It was not perfect, and some stayed silent or refused. But it was a start. One evening, Elias walked outside the space station to watch the stars. The Queen joined him. "We made progress," she said softly. Elias smiled. "Together, we can face whatever comes." Her violet blush returned, gentle and warm. Suddenly, an alarm sounded through the station. Lights flashed red. The Galactic Council was under attack. Elias grabbed the Queen's hand. "We must protect this alliance." The fight was just beginning. The alarms echoed through the Galactic Council's massive space station. Red lights flashed, and the sound of warning sirens filled the halls. Elias and the Queen quickly moved toward the command center. The Clyran Empire had launched a surprise attack. Their ships surrounded the station, firing powerful energy beams. The Council's defenses struggled to hold them back. Elias felt his heart pounding, but he stayed calm. "We need to work together," he said. "This alliance must stand." The Queen nodded, her violet eyes shining with determination. "Lead us, Elias." Inside the command center, hundreds of species worked side by side. Elias gave orders. using Earth tactics combined with Thalzar technology. His ideas surprised many, but they worked. Small fighter ships darted between enemy beams, confusing the Clyron fleet. Heavy cruisers fired from afar, protecting the station. Elias and the Queen coordinated every move. But the enemy was strong. The station shook as explosions rocked its outer walls. In the midst of battle, Elias spotted a Clyron ship trying to break through the main shield. Without hesitation, he piloted a fighter to intercept it. The fight was intense and close. Elias used every skill he had learned. Finally, with a sharp move, he disabled the ship's weapons. It drifted away, powerless. Back at the command center, the Queen smiled proudly. "You saved us." The battle continued for hours. Slowly, the Alliance fighters pushed the Clyron back. The station's shields held strong. The attackers, surprised by the unity and strength of the defenders, began to retreat. When the last enemy ship fled, the station erupted in cheers. The Alliance had won its first great battle. Elias looked around, exhausted but happy. The Queen came to him, her cheeks glowing with that soft violet blush. "You were brave," she whispered. "You brought hope to us all." Elias smiled, feeling warmth inside. "I am just a human trying to make a difference." She took his hand gently. "You are more than that. You are a symbol of courage, trust, and new beginnings." The galaxy was still dangerous, and many challenges waited. But Elias knew one thing clearly now. Humanity had earned its place among the stars. Together, with the Queen and their new allies, he would continue to fight for peace. The stars outside the station shone bright, full of promise, and Elias felt, for the first time, truly at home.